Yo, it's your boy Gabagool, and we back at it once again. Feel me? And the topic of the day is understanding. So, some of you who attended one of them little get-togethers that I do every now and then, or them little meetings and whatnot, we've discussed this topic. You feel me? And we went in depth. I got feedback from a lot of you. You feel me? We had a nice time. So if you guys ever interested in popping out to one of them talks, one of them get-togethers, all you gotta do is let me know. It's that simple. And everybody is welcome, and you could bring everybody and your grandma if you want to. It don't matter. Regardless. Understanding, bro, the topic. What could it mean? As I've mentioned, there's a lot of different interpretations one could have when engaging with the word understanding. But what do I mean when I'm using it? When I'm using it, I'm referring to taking every single perspective that you can about any given topic, right? Like really making sure that you overstand, not even understand, because a lot of times things can get lost in translation and so on and so forth. Feel me? I'm gonna take a seat so I can really turn up on this damn thing. But yeah, so that's a topic. So while I'm finding this little seat, you could go ahead and brainstorm a little something. You feel me? Brainstorm. What could it mean? Could it be, how do I understand math? How do I understand music? How do I understand anything in the universe? You feel me? Would you look at that? So it goes like this. Understanding, bro. When I use it, as I've mentioned, you want to look at everything in life as if it's a fourth dimensional or fifth dimensional object. It don't gotta be so human, because you gotta remember this: our eyes are very limited, our perspectives are very limited. So for that reason, we gotta think about, how does the whole universe operate, right? It operates in waves and frequencies and so on and so forth, right? And there's a lot to those things, and just really a matter of understanding what all that means, you know? So using understanding, you want to gear it towards people's perspectives and how you really engage with reality around you, right? So let's say, this is an example I used when we were doing the talk. Hold up. Yo, there's a brown and black squirrel. Hold up, bro. I gotta hawk it down. Got to. Look at that damn thing. Look at it. I've never seen that in my life. What? A brown and black squirrel. Yo, that thing looked like a whole different beast. Yo, look at it. The hell, I gotta be a hybrid, bro. My phobia just went on a whole little... Oh, I'm gonna chase it. Oh, he running. Alright, whatever. Anywho, so yes, my fault for the little distraction. I got ADHD. Don't forget that part. But look, so understanding, bro, right? Understanding. So for example, I'm at a red light and this person in front of me don't want to move after it turns green, right? I could be like, yo, what's wrong with this dickhead? And really get aggravated and shit. Or I could be like, yo, bro, maybe he dropped something, he's trying to pick it up in his V. Or maybe, you feel me, there's a kid in the back seat crying or something of that nature. You feel me? Like, just taking that perspective towards things. Like, really understanding that not everything is, like, out to get you, or not everything is really against you, and so on and so forth. And just really understanding people's perspectives, you know? Like, let's say an individual, you feel me, is depressed and they can't operate properly at the moment. Feel me? You gotta understand that they're limited to that mindset. They're limited to that mind space. And it's not like, you feel me? It's not a you problem, so go with the flow, bro. Understand that. Understand that, okay, this person needs a little moment. You feel me? Any type of mental disability, mental health issue, physical issue, so on and so forth. Really just taking the perspective of, okay, this person may need a little more help. This person may need a little this or that, you know? Really important concept, understanding. Because a lot of people think they understand each other. They think they understand everything that there is to their life, bro. They think they're always right and so on and so forth. But what's the issue? If you go around life with that perspective, one, you got an OD pride, and two, you just never gonna see the issue, bro. You're gonna see everybody else as an issue, and it's gonna constantly happen your whole entire life, where you're gonna be like, yo, why do I always got problems with these people and it's the same problem every single time? I mean, if you do like basic math, if something keeps happening, like, it's a sequence, bro. It's a pattern. So if the pattern keeps repeating, there's something that you got to take a step back and learn from it. There's something you got to understand, right? You got to understand, why in the world does this keep happening to me? Is it my approach to these situations? Is it the way that I speak to people? Is it the way that I interpret what's going on? Is it the way that I don't ask for clarification? Things of that nature. Really use that understanding. And as you know, it's a gift of the Holy Spirit. One of the most important gifts, I would say. I mean, they're all incredibly important. But without understanding, you can't have discernment, you feel me? And so on and so forth. You can't have wisdom, you feel me? Because what is that verse? I'll put it in the caption. So Ecclesiasticus 1 verse 1 says, all wisdom is from the Lord, and with him it remains forever. And verse 4 says, and it says, wisdom, in verse 4 it says, wisdom was created before all things, and prudent understanding from eternity. You feel me? These are the pillars of anything and everything, bro. To understand life, they came first. You feel me? Because it helps make the rest make sense, you know? So yes, go about life trying to really understand what's really going on. Don't be so quick to react, bro. That's not wise. That's stupid, you know? You have to be slow and go with the flow. Why is this happening? You feel me? Nobody's perfect. I'm not gonna say I'm sitting here out here like a Buddha, bro. Hell no. I'll be wilding myself. But it's important to understand and reflect on these things so that one day these habits and these doings relax a little and they don't really occur as consistently as they once did, right? That's the objective. Not to be perfect, but to be better through Jesus Christ, who is God. Boom. Probably didn't even know I was gonna say all that. But yes, gotta get to it, bro. I told you I was getting biblical up in here. Now I'm gonna start walking again because the message is complete. So yes, really understand why things are happening, why this person said that thing, this thing, right? Because one of my homegirls who pulled up to the meeting thing was all like, oh, but what if your friend is having trouble to understand this or that? And I was like, well, that's when you take your understanding and recognize that a person has a certain, everybody has ability, right? But some people have more ability than others. With that being said, some people may have the ability to think better than others. And in this case, someone may have the ability to have empathy and be like, oh, okay, maybe I did fuck up and I'm not like always right and the best person in the universe, right? So essentially, I'm gonna just get to it. What I was saying was some people have no empathy. They just can't recognize when they're wrong, bro. They're just allergic to it or something. So essentially you would use your understanding to understand that this is their ceiling, bro, and your ceiling is who even knows how high. But their ceiling is lower than yours, and that's where they're limited to. But you must use genuine understanding. You can't use just stupidity and be like, yeah, nah, you're wrong. And then just cut them off, blow them off. Don't understand them at all, you feel me? You take this approach of recognizing their ceiling once it's established, like once it's just incredibly clear. You don't need any more factors. Like you repeated it a billion times and it makes sense and it's a logical thing to repeat, and the person is just stuck. They've hit their ceiling, you would say, right? They can't understand any further without reflecting. So if the individual is not reflecting, then they'll never understand. It's really that simple. You gotta reflect to understand. And then you also, there's a lot of steps to it, but just that's an important step, I'd say. You know, when you reflect on the work you do or something, right? Then you start to understand it better. You don't just look at some shit once and then you're all like, yeah, I know everything. It's impossible. So for that reason, we must always reflect on what we believe we understand to understand it even further. But there's a little trick within that I'm not gonna get into, but for the ones that have deep spiritual truths, they'll understand that there's something funny about understanding. Well, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you listened. I hope that, you feel me? If you raise any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm seeing that black and brown squirrel again. I might tweak. But, yeah, bro, keep doing what it do, you know? And keep searching for the truth, bro, because if you're not searching for the truth, you'll never find it. If you think that life is all about getting bread, getting a big house, a big car, a big whatever the fuck, and then you die, That is not life at all. You're not even close to getting it right. You've been conditioned and brainwashed by society and those that want you to be conditioned and brainwashed to be a worker and a slave, essentially. Because that's the way it goes, right? How much work do you really think these billionaires that own all these companies really do? Really think about it. So, with that being said, use your understanding and continue to progress and elevate yourself within this reality, I guess you could say, within this realm, within this dimension. Feel me? Really turn up, do what it do, bro. And remember, the objective here is to not be perfect, but to be better. Because that's all that we can be. You know what they say? At least getting 1% better a day, bro, right? So do what it do, and you know the rest. Be easy, be smooth, be safe. And yeah, any comments, questions, anything you liked, do whatever you want with that. Boom, be easy. Because now we got a whole whatever.